to Le Circuit Mont Tremblant for race number 3 of the 1990 Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Hello everyone, I'm Brendan Connor with Pat Gonzalez, and we're here at Le Circuit Mont Tremblant, just north of Montreal, nestled in the beautiful Laurentian Mountains. And this is our first visit here during the third season of Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Racing. And Pat, this is just a lovely venue for motorsports.
Well, Brendan, the track is situated in a very picturesque part of Quebec. It's just over an hour outside of Montreal, and the Mont Tremblant area has become a destination for vacationers and sports enthusiasts over the last few years as the area has really been developed. The area achieved international status when world-class ski racer Ernie McCullough, the original Crazy Canuck, began winning World Cup races and hosting both jet-setters and international celebrities at his ski school and clinics here on the Trembling Mountain. The skiing is even more popular now, but when the snow is gone, it's sailing, golf, tennis, and of course, Canadian Championship auto racing that keeps this area thriving and popular all year round.
That's right, Pat, and I understand that softball has become a bit of a hit here as well.
Brendan, it's become a regular event. The drivers and crews in the series were guests for a barbecue and softball game in the town of Mont Tremblant, hosted by the track workers and race organizers. It's been going on for a couple of seasons now, and this year's game, just after yesterday's qualifying, was a chance for participants and organizers alike to have a little fun. And although they were umpires and they did keep score, maybe they were just trying to forget about the racing for a while.
Let's take a look at the point standings now. So far in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series, after 2 rounds, it is Richard Spinard out in front, followed by Ronnie Fellows. Spinard with a 4-point lead. Now, both men drove well last time out at Shannonville. Spinard ended up winning, and Ron Fellows started at the back of the grid, ended up in 3rd place. The next 3 drivers, David Embringham, Jacques Liliev, and David Tennyson, are now tied with 41 championship points. Look for today's race to shuffle that logjam. In 6th position, Bill Adam with 38 points. Bill won the season opener at Mosport, but broke his rear suspension and did not finish at Shannonville. Normand Boyer, rookie Fernando Arcilla, and Uli Bieri hold 7th, 8th, and 9th spots. And another tie at 27 points, both Rick Bye and John Graham in 10th spot.
Rick Bye and Bill Adam were the only 2 drivers to defeat Richard Spinard in last year's series, and they did that right here at Mont Tremblant. Now, both of those drivers ran into mechanical problems during round number 2 at Shannonville, did not finish the race. So if both of those drivers want to get back into the championship race, they'll have to turn in very strong performances here at Mont Tremblant. Now, the series this year does allow the drivers to drop one of their races. Bye and Adam did that at Shannonville, so they do not have that wild card left to go. They must turn in good performances the rest of the season, so both of those drivers will feel that added pressure here today at Mont Tremblant.
And I got a chance to talk to Bill Adam yesterday and asked him what it's like to be chasing last year's champion.
Richard is the most fun of anybody to race with, and he's somebody that over the years we've, I think, grown to trust and have fun with each other, and he's just the best person to race with. So to beat him, to beat somebody that I consider that high up, would be very satisfying, and I want to feel satisfied.
That determination, that reason for being here, seems to be translating now into a groundswell of sentiment that's suggesting, without any animosity, let's catch Richard. That's what everyone is saying. Well, Richard Spinard is starting on row number 1 today in this 3rd race of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment to see how it all turns out from Le Circuit Mont Tremblant. Welcome back to Le Circuit Mont Tremblant and race number 3 of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. I'm Brendan Connor, and the start is just moments away now. The cars are now leaving the pre-grid area and heading out onto the track for a pace lap. So let's go to Pat Gonzalez to look over the starting grid.
On the pole position will be David Tennyson. Tennyson turning in an impressive run in the final qualifying session to snatch the pole position away from Richard Spinard, who will start up on the outside in the Motormaster Downtown Fine Cars Porsche. Starting on the inside of row number 2 is Spinard's teammate David Embringham, coming off a fine 2nd place finish at Shannonville. And on his outside will be Bill Adam. Bill had a disappointing run at Shannonville. He needs a top finish here today. Jacques Liliev, one of the most improved drivers this year, will be in the United Auto Parts Karcher Porsche. And alongside in row 3, Normand Boyer, who continues to improve.
Rest of the grid, Pat. Row 4, Uli Bieri and Rick Bye. Then Heimrath and David behind those 2. John Graham and rookie Fernando Arcilla in row number 6. David King and Doug Griesbach will be in the other Denon car. They're in row number 7. And at the back, Len Campbell and Ron Fellows, neither of whom posted a qualifying time here.
Fellows will be looking to make another great charge to the front as he did in round 2 at Shannonville. Tennyson and Spinard bring the cars onto the pit straightaway, and we're racing at Mont Tremblant. It is Tennyson grabbing the lead as they go into turn number 1. Spinard runs in second. Empringham is in third. And now you ride on board with Richard Spinard as he sits right on the rear bumper of Tennyson. There is the number 2 car of Empringham running in third. Then it is Bill Adam in fourth. Richard Spinard losing a little bit of ground here to Tennyson on the opening lap as the drivers get right up onto the speed curbing. But Spinard, a veteran driver, will pace himself as he stays right there with Tennyson. And the drivers here on the opening lap pretty much single file. And here's Ron Fellows as he starts to pick his way through traffic coming up on the 44 car of John Graham. Fellows pulling up alongside here as he's right with Graham. Graham managing to hold him off. Here is Tennyson, the leader. Spinard followed by Empringham. Then it is Bill Adam in that black and white Toshiba Porsche as they head up the back straightaway at Mont Tremblant for the first time. Tennyson leading the way, followed by Spinard, Empringham, and then it is Bill Adam. In fifth, Jacques Liliev in the number 4 black and yellow car, followed by Uli Bieri in sixth. Norman Boyer runs 7th, and Rick By in the Pioneer Porsche is back in 8th.
And Pat, Ron Fellows is starting to move out of the draft, took an inside line there, trying to get through on the inside past John Graham, 44, and he's made it now, and he's working on Fernando Arcilla in the 42 car as you're on board with Ron Fellows as he attempts another pass.
Fellows going inside of Arcilla to pick up yet another position as he's done a great job here in the early going of climbing up into the top 10. The drivers up in a narrow corner. It is still Tennyson leading Spinard. Empringham runs in third, followed by the Toshiba Porsche, Bill Adam, who tries to pull up alongside of Empringham. Liliev is hanging right in there, and Jacques Liliev has really improved his driving in the Porsche. And here comes Bill Adam, just about side by side with Empringham, who will hold him off as they go through turn number 1. But that battle for third really starting to heat up as Tennyson and Spinard have opened up a bit of a gap. David Empringham has got to be feeling the pressure being applied at the moment by Bill Adam and Jacques Liliev. And just a little bit further back, it is the number 40 car of Uli Bieri as he's moved up nicely to join that group. Tennyson, your leader, by just a car length over Spinard. Then it is Empringham in the number 2 Porsche. Bill Adam follows in fourth. Liliev fifth. Bieri is sixth.
Here is the view, Pat, from Norman Boyer's car, who started in 6th spot on the grid, but has fallen back a couple of places now to 8th. And this is a race that Norman, of course, would love to do well in. He is from nearby St. Agathe. A lot of fans here at Tremblant pulling for Norman.
The battle for the lead really starting to heat up. Tennyson has led from the start after putting the Denon Porsche on the pole position, but Spinard is all over him as they head up the back straightaway. Then a bit of a gap to a great three-way fight for third. Tennyson, your leader, followed by Spinard. Here is Bill Adam in the draft of Empringham, and Adam moves down to the inside, and Bill Adam will take over that third place position with a lovely pass on the inside of David Empringham, pushing the young Spinard David Racing School driver back into fourth.
Pat, I'm still watching the number 5 car of Norman Boyer. Mentioned those problems he's having and lost a couple of places early, and now you can see him pulling off here. He is in real trouble, and he's working the gearbox a bit. What do you make of this, Pat?
Brendan, I think it's some kind of transmission-related problem. You can see and hear Boyer is going through the gears and just isn't getting any power to the rear wheels.
And he's getting out of his car now, Norman Boyer, and that is kind of disappointing. Looks as if it might be the day for Normand.
The leader, David Tennyson, across the line, followed by Spinard, and then Bill Adam. And here's Liliev right up alongside of David Empringham. And Liliev will move up into that fourth place position. Empringham drops to fifth.
Let's ride with Ron Fellows for a moment again as he makes another pass here, moving ahead of Ludwig Heimrathen into 8th spot already. Ron Fellows starting from the back today, of course, and he started from the back last time at Shannonville, made it to the medal podium. We talked to him earlier and said he had a good feeling about this race as well.
Shannonville, where we know we can get very close from the back of the pack. Now the trick is to win from the back. That's what today's plan is, to win from the back.
Here's a look at the leaders again, and here's a look at the top 10 right now. Tennyson, Spinard, and Adam in 1, 2, and 3. Liliev is up to 4th ahead of David Empringham. Uli Bieri still in 6th. Rick By, Ron Fellows, as we mentioned, moved up to 8th. Ludwig Heimrath and Raymond David rounding out the top 10 right now. And as Ron Fellows goes by, you see a little gap opened up between him and Ludwig Heimrath in the number 7 car, the Porsche Autohaus Cantel car. He's in 9th spot, and getting a little challenge from behind as well as Raymond David creeping up.
David Tennyson, the leader, up in a narrow corner. Spenard right on his rear bumper as Richard is really starting to put the pressure on in the last couple of laps. Bill Adam in that black and white Toshiba Porsche has also closed on the front-running pair, and Jacques Liliev not that far behind. 53, David King just ahead of Fernando Arcilla. Then it's the blue Denon car of Doug Griesbach, followed by Len Campbell in the red number 11 Porsche. That is a great four-way fight a little bit further back of the top 10. Number 12, Doug Griesbach making a move on Fernando Arcilla. Arcilla being warned of that passing attempt by that blue flag being displayed in turn number 1. Back with the leaders as Bill Adam has made this a three-way fight at the front. Tennyson leading in the blue Denon car, followed by Spenard, and then Bill Adam, as Spenard and Tennyson have gone at it at the front, actually slowing each other down. That has allowed Bill Adam to catch up, and here you're on board with Richard Spenard as again he closes back up on Tennyson, and Bill Adam still in the thick of this battle up front. Jacques Liliev with a great drive, followed by Effingham Bieri. Here's Rick By in 7th place in the Pioneer Porsche, and then just behind Rick By is the hard-charging Ron Fellows, who's come off the back row to climb up into the 8th place position as they head up the back straightaway at Mont Tremblant.
And down in the pits, Pat, Bernie Newman looking on, Tennyson's crew chief, watching his driver, trying to hang on to first place, but under plenty of pressure, of course, as they are nose to tail. Richard Spenard right behind him, and as you mentioned, it's a three-way race because Bill Adam is in the thick of things as well.
Out of Mamuro Corner, they come back onto the start-finish straightaway, and they're as close as they've been all race long. Tennyson, Spenard, and Bill Adam, and it's a three-way fight at the front at Mont Tremblant. From the rear-mounted camera in Rick By's car, we watch Ron Fellows as he continues to reel in. Rick By, here is Ronnie Fellows right down on the apex of that turn, in fact lifting the right front wheel off the racetrack as he is just flying out here and closing on Rick By in a hurry. Ronnie Fellows currently running in the 8th place position, and you really get a sense of the speed aboard these race cars as Fellows continues to close, going right up on the speed curving there. Doug Griesbach just ahead of Arcilla and 11 Len Campbell as they battle through turn number 1.
Even at the back of the field, Pat, the racing and traffic pretty tough here. You see Arcilla in the 42 car, the black car. This is his first Turbo Cup season and his first race at Mont Tremblant. He told me about his experience so far.
So far, it looks like I'm doing pretty good, and want to move up, hopefully do a lot better after I get used to these tracks a lot more, because last year was my first professional year, and all I did was Mosport. That's the only really track I knew. Now I get to try out Shannonville and the Mont Tremblant here, and they're pretty challenging tracks, so hopefully I get used to them pretty good.
The thoughts of a rookie on the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Here's a guy who's been on it for 2 years now and gets 2 wheels on the dirt, as a matter of fact. That's Ray David going by Heimrath into 9th spot. We'll be back with more racing from Mont Tremblant right after this. Welcome back to Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Racing on CBC. I'm Brendan Connor with Pat Gonzalez, and we are midway through race number 3 from Mont Tremblant. The lead cars, David Tennyson, Richard Spenard, and Bill Adam, are still bumper to bumper in the back straight.
David Tennyson by less than a car length over Richard Spenard. Bill Adam right behind Spenard, and Jacques Liliev not that far back. Here's Spenard all over Tennyson as they come under the bridge, and Spenard has taken the lead as he got through on the inside of Tennyson, who left the opening, and Richard Spenard, after following Tennyson for several laps, has gone out in front as they come up in a Namaro. Tennyson on the inside looking to retake the lead, but Spenard will shut the door, and the two drivers almost bang their cars together, and here's Bill Adam. He'll take a run at Tennyson as they come on to the start-finish straightaway. Tennyson will manage to hang on to the number 2 spot. It is Spenard leading Tennyson in the blue Denon car. Bill Adam is right there in 3rd. In 4th is Jacques Liliev, and Liliev has closed up here in the last few corners. Richard Spenard, for the first time in this race, has a clear racetrack ahead of him as he tries to hold off Tennyson and Bill Adam. And of course, Jacques Liliev still very much in the hunt.
Strong tactical driving again. This is a classic race strategy for Richard Spenard. He says he doesn't necessarily go for the front in the early going of these Porsche races.
It depends on the race, it depends on the start. Sometimes I'm not that aggressive on the start because I know it's irrelevant where I am in the first 3, 4, 5 laps. Quite a few times you saw me in the pole and drop back on the first corner, and I can say I do it necessarily on purpose, but it doesn't affect me too much if either Ron or Tennyson or somebody else or Bill Adam gets in front of me on the first few laps, and sometimes it's even better.
Well, Tennyson was in front of Spenard for several laps, but now he is pulling away, and look at this fight going on for second. Adam just about ran into the back of Tennyson, and Liliev is closed right up. The fight now is for the number 2 spot. Spinard has opened up a pretty good lead. Tennyson, Bill Adam, and Jacques Liliev. This is outstanding racing for that runner-up position. Spinard still well out in front, but the three-way fight for second continues.
And looking at the action at the back, Pat, another three-way battle we've been talking about involved car number 42 and Fernando Arcilla. Looks like we're going to make that a two-car battle now. Arcilla's off the track with a bit of a problem, and the teams will now be checking their lap charts. They'll be making a note about Arcilla dropping out and note him as a lap down when the leaders come through.
The yellow flag is out at the start-finish line. No passing is allowed on the front straight because the parked car of Fernando Arcilla, with the driver still on board, is just out of sight of the other drivers as they approach turn 1.
Well, there's Len Campbell going through, Pat. He is the last driver in the field, and Fernando Arcilla has wisely elected to stay in the car. Safest place to be until everybody's gone by and seen his predicament. Now he can jog across the track, and he's going to be met right away by some race officials. There's Claude Giroux and Vince Lauren just checking with Fernando Arcilla to make sure he's okay. Evidently just a mechanical problem. Arcilla takes off the helmet, and he's through for the day.
The green flag is out at turn number 1 to confirm that the track is clear beyond the Arcilla car, and a steady yellow flag at the start-finish line for one more lap will remind the drivers that the Arcilla car will stay where it is for the remainder of the race. This battle for second place continues as heated as ever. It is Tennyson by just a half a car length over Bill Adam, who tries to pull up alongside. The two drivers just about touch there as they headed up the back straightaway, and Jacques Liliev is right there. Here comes Bill Adam up the inside of the Denon car of Tennyson, and he will take over second. A superb passing move by Bill Adam to put the Toshiba Porsche up into the number 2 spot. Tennyson now drops to third. Liliev right on his rear bumper runs in fourth. And again, from the rear-mounted camera in Rick Bye's car, we watch the charge of Ron Fellows, who's been trying to get around Rick Bye for several laps now. He appears to have stalled after charging from the back row.
Must be disconcerting, Pat, for any driver to see someone as aggressive as Ron Fellows looming in the rearview mirror, but here he is in Bye's rearview mirror, and Bye's actually been the only driver to hold off Ron Fellows for more than a lap.
Well, they're just about a car length apart. Here comes Ronnie Fellows, and he will make the pass. There's the blue flag being displayed to Rick Bye, showing that there was a driver trying to overtake him, and Fellows has moved around up into the 7th place position as they come onto the pit straightaway. Rick Bye hanging just a couple of car lengths back.
And Raymond David again has not been able to shake Ludwig Heimrath off, locking up the brakes there on Namaro, you saw, as he headed through pit straight. And Heimrath, Cantel Auto House crew showing him the pit board. That was a minute 57-second lap, and not surprisingly, race times are a few seconds slower than they were in qualifying.
Ron Fellows up into that 7th place position. The next driver ahead of him is that bright yellow car of Uli Bieri, and here is Fellows. He will dispose of Bieri very, very quickly as he moves up into the 6th place position. So Ron Fellows really putting on a charge now as he looks up ahead at the next driver, and that would be the number 2 car of David Emperingham. So Ronnie Fellows turning in another great charge in this Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event, and here is Liliev all over Tennyson. David Tennyson, after qualifying on the pole and leading here early, has really been challenged throughout this race. The two drivers touch heading up the back straightaway. There was definite contact there between Tennyson and Liliev. There's Spinard, your leader, followed by Adam in second. Liliev right up alongside of Tennyson, and he will take the 3rd place spot at the end of the back straightaway.
Once again, Pat, we're seeing David Tennyson qualify so well, but work backwards through the race. Right now, Richard Spinard is the leader, Bill Adam in second. Now Liliev is in third, ahead of Tennyson, Emperingham and Fellows. After that, Uli Bieri, Rick Bye, Raymond David, and Ludwig Heimrath rounding out the top 10. And we're coming back to Mont Tremblant for the final laps of Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup race number 3. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Le Circuit Mont Tremblant, Quebec. I'm Pat Gonzalez with Brendan Connor. Richard Spinard continues to lead this event. And David Tennyson has slid off the racetrack. That's Uli Bieri and David Emperingham going through. Tennyson is back on the track. He's pulling out just in front of Rick Bye in the Pioneer Porsche, but he's lost 3 positions. He now runs back in the 7th place position. Richard Spinard, your race leader. Bill Adam continues to hold on to that 2nd place position. Jacques Liliev runs in 3rd. And now the new 4th place driver will be Ron Fellows, as he has moved up into 4th with that spin by Tennyson. Richard Spenard over the crest of the hill. There is Bill Adam East within a few car lengths. Bill Adam, who's one of the smoothest drivers in the series, and Jacques Liliev having his best run in a Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event in third. There is the 35 car of Ron Fellows. He's come off the back row to run up into fourth. Ulibarri runs in fifth.
Now we're racing with Ron Fellows and his perspective, Pat, and he made it look really easy, of course, in the early part of the race, passing people and moving up, starting from the back as he did. But now that he's trying to reel in the leaders, it's going to be a little more difficult for Fellows with not much time left in the race.
Richard Spenard, the leader, up in Enamoro. Bill Adam continues to close. Spenard was the winner of race 2 at Shannonville. Bill Adam, of course, won the season opener at Mosport. The two drivers on the pit straightaway.
Let's go back to Ron Fellows' car and the onboard camera. We're going to take a look at that spin out earlier by David Tennyson from Ron's point of view. As they head into the turn, you'll notice that Ron's having a little trouble holding the car as well. Maybe an earlier car might have left some oil down there. And at the top left of your screen, you see Tennyson can't hold it, spins out, and Ron Fellows, along with Empringham and Bieri, go through, leaving Tennyson in 7th place.
Just a few car lengths separating the leader, Richard Spenard, and the second place driver, Bill Adam. We're on the last lap as the drivers clear turn number 7. Spenard using every inch of racetrack, and now you ride with the leader, Richard Spenard, the defending Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series champion. Spenard downshifting for the hairpin as they go through this tight right-hand hairpin for the final time, getting set for the run up the back straightaway here at Mont. Bill Adam trying to get close enough to the point where he'll be able to draft off of Spenard's car, but Richard still holding the advantage. Here's the 53 car of David King, who's been having a battle with the number 12 Blue Denon Porsche of Doug Griesbach. Back with the leader, Richard Spenard, as he tries to hold off Bill Adam, braking at the end of the long back straightaway. Spenard by just a couple of car lengths now. They go by the disabled car of Norman Boye, and now you ride with Richard Spenard up onto the speed curbing as Spenard put a couple of wheels off onto the dirt, and he muscles the steering wheel. Bill Adam is all over Richard Spenard as they come through this right-hander and head up under the bridge as they head for Namuro for the final time. It is Spenard by a few car lengths. Adam, hard, late braking in Namuro, will close it up, but he smokes the tires. Big slide out of Bill Adam. Spenard out of the final corner now. The checkered flag is out at the flagger stand. Richard Spenard has won his second Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event of 1990. Bill Adam will settle for second, and then it'll be Jacques Liliev. Here's the checkered flag for Liliev as he will finish in third.
And that third place finish is Jacques Liliev's best so far in a Turbo Cup event. Here's how they shake down for the top 10. Richard Spenard with his second win of the series, followed by Bill Adam and Jacques Liliev. Ron Fellows and Uli Bieri rounding out the top 5 in our third race of the series. As for positions 6 through 10, David Empringham, Rick By, David Tennyson, and Ludwig Heimrath did get by Raymond David to take 9th spot. Raymond David settling for number 10. Now let's go to the winner's podium where Fred Doobie of Porsche is helping to hand out the hardware. Richard Spenard, a winner once again in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Race number 3 is down, but one of the key stories today, Pat, is that Ronnie Fellows with another good drive and Bill Adam evidently back in the chase.
Well, Bill is right back in the race for the championship, but as you mentioned, Richard Spenard showed his mastery of this racetrack, and he's going to be one tough driver to beat the rest of the way, but Adam is right there. Ronnie Fellows is driving well. It should be a great rest of the series. We're looking forward to it.
We've got lots more racing coming up later on, and we'll see you next time from Mosport when Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup racing continues. So for now, for Pat Gonzalez, I'm Brendan Connor saying so long from Le Circuit Mont Tremblant, Quebec.